Right now at 6, another immigration arrest sparks outrage after witnesses say agents fired pepper balls at protesters.
Those aren't actions of making our neighborhoods safer.
Then how crooks are draining Oregon food stamp cards.
I went instantly into my app and to see if maybe I did something wrong.
And the simple fix some say could stop them. Plus,
we're talking about human life and properties, public health and safety downstream.
the decades-old debris renewing fears of flooding along the Cowlitz River. And later, watch as thousands of toys begin the journey to local teens and kids, marking another successful year of the KGW Great Toy Drive.
Woo! Holiday high fives for the Great Toy Drive and the Parade of Toys.
First, here at 6, city leaders are calling for ICE to stop using chemical munitions on Portland streets. Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich. The statement follows an immigration-related arrest last week. That's when witnesses say agents shot pepper balls near protesting neighbors. Evan Watson joins us live now from North Portland. Evan, what have you learned?
Yeah, neighbors tell me that they saw ICE agents pull over and then arrest Eric Tejas on this North Portland street. And then later, while protesting, they said ICE agents shot pepper balls at the ground around them. For some, it was a new layer, a new level of enforcement when it comes to immigration activity.
Do not touch the street! Do not touch the street! Do not touch! Get out of here! Get out of our neighborhood!
This video shows North Portland neighbors yelling and protesting last week's immigration-related arrest of Eric Tejas. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents took Tejas as he drove 2 of his children to school. A GoFundMe, organized by Tejas' niece, said his wife and 3 children, including a 6-month-old, are now heartbroken, scared, and without the support they depend on every day. After Tejas was detained, neighbors said the enforcement escalated when ICE agents fired pepper balls at the ground near a protester's feet.
Warning shots! Warning shots! Citizens!
Jaslyn Sincata says she watched everything happen on the street in front of her home.
They were telling me that I was terrorizing the neighborhood for screaming as they're ripping a father out of their kid's car.
Sincata says the worst came as the last vehicle of ICE agents left the neighborhood.
The driver and the passenger stick their freaking pepper balls out their windows and shoot like bam, 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 just freaking lit up the neighborhood with pepper balls. As they're driving off, they're all safe in the car. And so then like downwind, the whole street's just coughing.
Leaving a child walking to school, needing water to wash out their eyes. Portland Mayor Keith Wilson and 3 city council members shared a statement Tuesday saying, "We condemn ICE's unjustified, disruptive, and escalatory conduct, which undermines public trust in government. We call on federal authorities to immediately cease the use of chemical munitions in our neighborhoods." Angry neighbors in this North Portland community
Welcome in this
getting a little out of hand, isn't it?
Yeah.
See that?
It's almost like no one wants to have their neighbors kidnapped.
I know.
say the ICE activity clearly crosses a line.
It's a show of force that is not what people who are claiming they're here to make our neighborhoods safer.
I did reach out to ICE this morning asking both for clarity and information on Tejas' arrest and case, and also for comment on the use of pepper balls and munitions like that. I have not heard back from ICE on either account. Back to you.
Evan Watson reporting live from North Portland. Thank you, Evan. Meanwhile, today a delegation of Oregon lawmakers is asking Homeland Security to reveal any plans for new ICE facilities in the state. In a letter to Secretary Kristi Noem and Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, lawmakers point to recent job postings that suggest plans for new or expanded detention facilities in Portland and Newport are already underway. They say they were not notified and are demanding transparency before any contracts are signed. Those jobs have since been removed from both Indeed and Acuity International. Lawmakers have asked Homeland Security to provide a detailed response by December 19th. Stay with us as we continue to track the impact of immigration enforcement on our communities. You can find the latest here, online at KGW.com or anytime on our free TV app, KGW+. Now to Western Washington, where historic floods have turned deadly. A man drowned early this morning when he tried to drive through a closed road. He was found submerged in a ditch about 6 feet deep near the Snohomish River, north of Seattle. This comes as thousands more were forced to evacuate overnight in the town of Pacific, about 16 miles east of Tacoma. A levee had failed on the White River.
Phone went off. I saw alert, but I wasn't sure where it was at. And I thought we were safe, but we looked out the door and water was coming up, so we left.
It's nerve-wracking. I don't know. I'm really hoping that, that it'll subside a little bit, but this is the worst that we've seen in a long time.
Stay with us. We'll have much more in a report from the City of Pacific coming up at 6:30. We have activated our Northwest Response fundraiser to help people impacted by the flooding. Donate by scanning the QR code right there on your screen. The money goes directly to the American Red Cross. You can also visit U.S. Bank branches in Washington and Oregon to make a donation in person. We also have a link to donate at kgw.com. And the stormy weather has people in Cowlitz County concerned about more flooding. The Cowlitz River is filling up with both water from all the recent rain and sediment from the Mount St. Helens eruption. Devin Haskins has a closer look at their concerns.
The Cowlitz River flowing fast and high behind me here in Castle Rock. City leaders and county leaders here in Cowlitz County are asking the Army Corps of Engineers to dredge the river and get rid of some of that sediment from the Mount St. Helens eruption. So far, they say, they've been told no. It's been more than 40 years since Mount St. Helens erupted, and the volcano is still causing problems for the Cowlitz River. Sediment is filling the riverbed.
That has a huge impact, especially when you get an event like we just did, where you not only have material above the SRS that's coming into it, but you also have all the banks that have had the dredge material on them as well downstream.
David Vorse is Castle Rock's Public Works Director. He says back in the 1980s, the Army Corps of Engineers built a structure to catch that sediment. But now it's only trapping a small fraction of what it should.
We're in such a situation that it's becoming not a matter of if, but just a matter of when, and we're really running very thin on the wind.
Leaders from several cities in Cowlitz County are asking the USACE to dredge the river and get rid of some of the sediment. But the Corps has told them no, writing out a letter to Vorse last week that says they are aware of concerns, but levees along the lower Cowlitz are meeting protection standards. Adding dredging will only happen if it's needed to maintain levee protection.
To date, they still not have talked any about dredging, though we have been continually bringing it up.
Vorse says without dredging, people here could face mandatory flood insurance or worse.
We're talking about human life and properties, public health and safety downstream. And we're at that point where we need to do some dredging, or we're going to find ourselves with flooding issues.
And they say time is running out as more rain is in the forecast. In an article in the Columbian, a spokesperson for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers said that by dredging the river would set a precedent that they can't afford. In Castle Rock, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.
Let's bring in Celine Stevens now. Celine, there's potential for all of this flooding to get worse with the system moving in later this week. So walk us through what we know.
Christine, definitely. That's why we have our weather impact alert, not just tonight, but also on Thursday and Friday. We're looking at a lot of rain, and we're also looking at winds, especially tonight. Taking a look, though, right now at our sky cam at the Oregon Zoo, 54 degrees, so temperatures are mild. Right now, winds are calm, but that will be picking up. And just look at all the watches and warnings that we have to deal with right now. We're looking at the green, which is a flood watch, and that will run through Friday evening. For the Portland area, it goes into effect actually Wednesday night, lasting through Friday night. We're already dealing with the saturated soil and the high rivers from last week's event, and so this is only going to add on top of that. But really, we're going to be seeing this in effect from the coast to the Cascades. All those areas have the potential for flooding with this atmospheric river that moves in on Thursday. We're also dealing with a high wind warning tonight along the coast, lasting through early tomorrow morning. Gusts could be getting up to 60 miles per hour, and then we also have a wind advisory for the Coast Range and Cascade Foothills and Willapa Hills. So a lot going on. Looking at our radar, though, we have more rain coming into our area tonight. That's going to last all night into early Wednesday morning. morning, and then Wednesday we'll just have some showers throughout the day. But once we get into Thursday, that's when we're going to have this atmospheric river move into our area, and this is going to bring us considerable rainfall Thursday through Friday, even into the weekend. But of course, we have our weather impact alert. Due to that, we're going to be seeing a real risk of flooding down to power lines. We'll talk more about it in a bit.
Appreciate the bird's eye view, Celine. Thank you. In your headlines, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office is investigating after a body was found in the Willamette River this morning. It was recovered near the Hawthorne Bridge just before 9 o'clock. Authorities say it's still unclear how the body got there or who it is. And starting today, Oregon Health Plan members can get birth control and emergency contraception at no cost and without a prescription at pharmacies across the state. The Oregon Health Authority and Board of Pharmacy created a standing order that lets pharmacists provide these medications directly to Medicaid members. Officials say this removes unnecessary barriers and gives more Oregonians control over their reproductive health. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield announced a multi-state settlement with Hyundai and Kia. State leaders say the companies sold vehicles without standard anti-theft protection. That led to a spike in car thefts, including here in Oregon. Under the deal, Hyundai and Kia will offer free fixes and pay a combined $9 million to affected drivers and states. It must also equip all future cars sold in the U.S. with the technology to help prevent theft.